Welcome to Kuneco. Thanks, Luis, Angela, for this amazing intro. Morgan, hi. It's good to catch up with you.
Rene. Always great to catch up with you.
So I saw you at a Celo Camp Mentor event just the other day, and it's just been so amazing to have you in the Celo ecosystem. Thank you for everything you've been doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe before we dive in, most people I think know you as the kind of co-creator of Libra and Diem. And earlier this year, you left the operating role and you're now an investor on the investing side as a general partner at NFX. What's the change been like?
Sure. Well, first, good morning, good evening, everyone who's watching. It's an honor to be here. It's a bit like I have goosebumps because for those who don't know, I met Rene, Marek, and Sep over 3 years ago when there were three of you and a beautiful slide deck. Everything's always been beautiful. So to just fast forward and see where you are now and with Kuneco and the community, it's pretty cool. So congrats and hello to everyone who's part of that community. So what has the change been like? I'm very tired, but I'm having a lot of fun. So for those who don't know, NFX is an early stage venture fund. NFX stands for Network Effects. And we try to be the first institutional money into, great teams. And I feel very lucky that some of my favorite parts of my old job are really not that different in that I was leading a lot of our ecosystem efforts, trying to communicate with and bridge the gap to and figure out how we work with the crypto community at large. So that a lot of those people have not necessarily changed. It's just figuring out a different way to work with them. So people like you, Rene and Marek and other folks on the Celo team. And at the end of the day, it's like, who do you spend your time with? So that part's a lot of fun.
We're all a big family. Yeah, no, it's actually really interesting to think about network effects, especially in the context of crypto networks, right? And I think this beauty of being able to align incentives, especially of early adopters with the growth of these systems, I think is something really powerful. And I'm curious if you have some specific views on that, and given that that's also NFX's focus.
Yes, of course. So NFX is not a crypto-only fund. That said, 3 months into the job, I think my partners are realizing that it's very hard for anything else to get my attention. So but I think they knew what they were signing up for. That said, though, we're thinking, what should our crypto-specific strategy be? Should we change the name? And I'm like, network effects kind of works. Like the whole industry is all about network effects, and we can use Celo as an example. Rene did not ask me to do this, but we will use Celo as an example, which is think about what Celo can do in Web3 versus what it could have done if you think of comps of like other fintech applications in Web2, which is that they can incentivize every behavior that they want or need for the ecosystem to take off just directly through the asset. So, look around. I even see some faces in this Zoom room, but I'm assuming in the audience that a lot of people are directly incentivized for this thing to work. So whether that is the entrepreneur in her dorm room in Nairobi who's building a really cool application on Celo, or it's Deutsche Telekom, which congratulations, huge news, is now holding Celo in the treasury, or it's your employees, or it is exchanges, or it is, so it's not or, and, just all of the different pieces and players that you need for Celo to take off are directly incentivized without you having to call them on the phone or beg them to do something or sign a contract with them. And that invisible but kind of explicit financial contract is fairly powerful, and network effects are just baked in.
No, absolutely. Look, you've been in crypto for a long time. With everything that's been happening more recently, and certainly spurred by some of these network effects, are we finally seeing crypto go mainstream right now?
I would say yes, with the asterisk that 8.5 years ago when I was initially red-pilled by, Balaji Srinivasan at Andreessen, he was saying it then. And so, it's all relative. And I guess maybe then it was mainstream relative to what it was, but it does feel like the chasm has been crossed, or two chasms have been crossed. One is as far as mainstream consumer awareness, and the other is as far as institutional adoption. What you you saw Deutsche Telekom yesterday. I'm going to see how many times I can bring that up. Or even PayPal adding support for crypto, like that. Those are huge dominoes to fall. And I think that both from top down, as far as institutions adding support for crypto who have non-crypto users and non-crypto use cases, and bottoms up of just your grandma calling and asking what Bitcoin is, it does feel like there's something in the water and things have changed.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, one thing that's interesting, and maybe this is kind of a two-part question. I'm curious to hear from you, and you just mentioned that you're all the things that are exciting to you right now are in sort of the crypto and presumably DeFi and sort of other areas within sort of the broader crypto world. But going back to the opening segment we just saw, I think there's also a massive opportunity to, as we create this new financial system, to better align it with the health of our planet and our communities. And so I'm curious to hear from you. What are some of the interesting things that you're seeing, and maybe also as you look at teams that come in and pitch you and NFX, what are the qualities that you're looking for in the founders that are working on some of these new ideas?
So to start, I'll answer the last question first, which is the qualities we are looking for are smart people solving real problems that you also want to spend time with. Like, you want to work with good people. Like, as I mentioned before, your day is spending time with people, and you don't want to spend it with people you don't want to hang out with. But I think what's different is, as I mentioned, like those two chasms have been crossed as far as consumer mindshare and institutional adoption. So you're seeing different problems identified by different types of founders. And something that I've spoken to Rene about a lot is, historically or to date, a lot of crypto products have been what I call like crypto for crypto's sake. Like, you're solving real problems, but for not necessarily like a mainstream community. And it's people who maybe want crypto versus need crypto for the unique properties that crypto has to offer. So what makes me really excited is that you're really starting to see crypto, not just for crypto's sake, but like crypto being applied to the people who need it versus the people who want it, crypto being used for applications that like Web 2 could not solve. So problems that are uniquely solved with the properties of this infrastructure. And another plug for Celo that Rene did not ask me to make, but I am a proud mentor of Celo Camp. And it's just so cool to see. Like, I forget the kickoff call. I'm going to make up a number and someone is going to correct me. But there were founders, I want to say, from over 75 countries. I think it was over 100. But
That's about right. Yeah.
And you're like, holy, I was about to curse. That's crazy. Like, that's so cool. And what was really inspiring to me about that was, one, to the network effects point, like, you guys have created this army of people around the world who really want to see Celo work. But even more so is you have people in all these corners of the world who understand problems that are unique to their ecosystem. Whereas, like, I'm sitting here in San Francisco, like, I think I understand a lot of the world's problems, but not really. And you have people building on Celo who eat, sleep, and breathe this, but also who come from places where like Celo is really needed versus wanted. So that was a long way of saying smart people that you want to hang out with, building not crypto for crypto's sake, so solving real problems for real people.
No, I think the global aspect is something that is really important, right? I think if you're looking at financial infrastructure, it's inherently global, and so without sort of the expertise of founders in different communities and different markets all around the globe to understand how initially this can tie into the traditional system and over time actually become a system that has the resilience to stand on its own as well. I think that is a key ingredient. And early on in the journey, we articulated the 5 features of money, and the theme for this conference, for this Kuneco, is innovating on money. And when I look at those, they were certainly aspirational in terms of as a first step, we just try to kind of bridge in a way like the existing kind of system to this new system, and hopefully see some improvements. But as this kind of evolves, right, I think we'll see new forms of money. We see kind of new features of money come out of this, and this is already happening. And we'll see some examples at Kuneco over the next 2 days of teams working on these. And I'll just mention them briefly, so we have them as a reference. But it's the first one is a universal basic income that is tied into the money creation process. The second one is demurrage, so kind of a form of basically a charge on holding money. Natural capital-backed currencies. I think we have a whole panel on this at this event. Obviously, kind of this fitting into an ecology of money, right? So not just a single currency that rules all, but really a rich ecology of local functional and surely kind of digital assets packed to existing fiat currencies, as well as this concept of earning money into existence. And so if we look at this holistically, I think that provides a really rich tool set to actually reimagine money and to also kind of enable new applications that hopefully are much tighter linked to supporting the earth and sort of a regenerative economy. Morgan, just before we went live here, you shared some really exciting news with me. Are you ready to share this with our audience? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot here.
Good friends put you on the spot. So, kind of in theme with everything we've been talking about, where at least we at NFX believe that we're entering this new era of adoption, bottoms up, top down. And with our friends at Galaxy Digital, John Cole, if you're listening or watching, hey, we think that there's like an opportunity to do something a bit different from the funding perspective. So we realized that this new wave is bringing founders out of the woodworks who have identified new problems for these new target markets who weren't necessarily looking at touching crypto before. But the other truth is maybe they haven't really identified problems yet. Maybe they're just really smart people from different disciplines who previously thought crypto wasn't relevant to them, who want to play around. So we want to make it as easy as possible for the best founders in the world, whether they have crypto experience or not, but are crypto curious or crypto experts, to get off the ground. And we feel that a small change in the early trajectory of starting a company makes a huge impact. That's just physics. So stay tuned, but we will be launching a joint venture between NFX and Galaxy that is geared around helping those founders in the earliest stages just get started. So
it's really exciting news. Congrats. Yeah, I mean, look, we need more folks like you and Galaxy supporting, bringing more people into the space, more smart people into the space. So that's really exciting.
Thank you. I was also going to say because Rene will be involved in some way. So stay tuned for that as well. So thank you for letting me peer pressure you into that. And a lot of it was inspired by Celo Camp and the community that you guys are building. So
that's great. Well, looking forward to working even closer together. Thanks so much, Morgan, for joining us here at Kuneco, and have a good rest of your day.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for having me. Go Celo.